What was it that led you to that change or towards that evolution in your thinking?
My family and I moved to New Mexico from Washington in 2007 because we needed to rebuild our lives. We didn't have our jobs anymore, and it was time to move on to the next chapter. And I wrote a book, and sometime in that time frame, I would say 2009. Nine, I think, I got a phone call from the producer Lawrence Bender, who does a lot of work with Quentin Tarantino. But in this case, he was calling to ask if I would participate in a documentary called Countdown to Zero, which is about telling, the dangers of overly nuclear armed world. I said, of course. I realized there were very serious people involved with this. Lawrence had been the producer on An Inconvenient Truth. And the idea was to do for the whole nuclear issue what An Inconvenient Truth had done for global warming. So as a result, I did appear in the documentary. I helped narrate it. It opened at Sundance, the Cannes Film Festival. It did really well for a documentary. And that led me to Global Zero. And all of a sudden, I found that, much to my surprise, this expertise that I had developed, and I just thought that chapter was closed, that another door was opening and allowing me to speak in a much more overt fashion than I had previously, of course, on these issues that really mean so much to me. And because of all the stuff that had happened with the leak of my CIA identity in the book and the movie, people heard my voice maybe more than they would have otherwise. So I am really grateful to Global Zero and being allowed to participate in this. It really means a lot to me.
And what's it been like for you to essentially be an activist, to be able to lend your voice, your recognition, your name recognition to a cause?
Well, as you might imagine, the whole idea of being a public person is just sort of gives me the willies. I went into a profession where discretion is really important. I never wanted to be a public person. I don't find any of that attractive. Nevertheless, all that happened. I became a public person against my will. And to be able to change and evolve to the point where, you know what, I can use my voice for things that I care about. In my own community of Santa Fe, New Mexico, Joe and I both do a lot of things in the community. We talk about school reform. With Global Zero, I talk about something on obviously a global level, international level, something that harkens back to my expertise at the CIA. So it's, what can I say? It's a surprise. It's nothing I ever planned, but here I am, and I'm really grateful that I get to use the work that I thought that was just done forever and in a completely different fashion.
We always ask our activist of the week, and by the way, we're talking with Valerie Plame Wilson, our activist of the week for her work on Global Zero. And Valerie, we always ask our activist of the week for what advice or guidance you would give to other people who are considering either an active activism or a career in activism or a campaign. What advice would you give?
Gosh, I don't feel qualified, seeing as I sort of stumbled into it quite, by chance. But a couple things. Joe and I, when we speak particularly with young people at university, we always talk about, please consider public service. It doesn't mean you have to join the CIA or the State Department. There's so many ways to serve your community beyond. Just please consider it, because we need the best and the brightest, and so many kids in school don't even factor that into future career plans. That's one thing. Another point would be how important it is to hold your government to account for their words and deeds. That's what Joe and I did. That's what he did in his New York Times article, where he talked about the mischaracterization of the intelligence that led us into the Iraq War. And the other thing I would say is it doesn't have to be your career, of course. You know, it can just be woven throughout your life, and at different parts of your life, you're able to give more to your community, and other times you need to pull back. But it doesn't have to, you know, you don't necessarily have to make it that your profession is an activist. You do that on the side. You know, I think the generation, certainly today, that has graduated into such an uncertain economic climate here in the United States and around the world, has learned that you need to put together bits and pieces of what your career looks like and to be ready to turn on a dime if need be, because that's where the opportunity is.
Valerie Plame Wilson, our Activist of the Week. We are going to take a short break, and on the other side of this break, we'll talk to Valerie about what life has been like in New Mexico since she and Joe Wilson left Washington. You're listening and you're watching the Take Action News on We Act Radio.